Hello, everyone. Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everyone. We see a lot of people are joining in. It'd be lovely to know where everyone is joining in from. So if you can drop on the chat where you're joining in from France, from Germany, from Portugal, from Nigeria, from Italy, from the US, from Canada, wherever you're joining in from. It'll be lovely to know where everyone's joining in from. So can you all see me, or is it my screen that is being shared?
Can see you.
You can see
Your
me.
screen. Yeah. You can see you.
You don't see me on this. You don't see my screen share. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. All right, so we'll get it started. Thank you, everyone, for making time out of your busy Saturday to join us. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you all here for our SAP Career Path Discovery webinar. My name is Nkechi Nwosu. I'm the co-founder of Level Hire, and this is a giant step for us, and I'm glad to have so many people here. And looking forward to a great and exciting session. Before we dive deep into the program today, I would like to just do a quick introduction of Level Hire. Level Hire is a mentorship-powered career platform, and our mission is clear that no African in the diaspora should have to navigate their career journey alone. Today's webinar is a reflection of that mission, a space where we connect you to knowledge, lived experience, and available opportunities that you may not be aware of. Today, I'm really thrilled to have two incredible speakers who have carved their own paths in SAP, and they're going to share what a career in SAP looks like, what skills are essential, and how you too can position yourself for global opportunities in this growing field. So this is not going to be a passive webinar. Please engage, ask questions. We hope that you already came with some kind of questions. There'll be live polls, so dropping your answers. And we look forward to everyone really taking away something very, very meaningful and something that propels their career to the next step. So without wasting much time, I want to ask a first question on the polls to know if we know anything about SAP. So do you see the poll on your screens?
No, we can only see you. Hold on, maybe yes. No.
Yes.
You have to, I think, actively open the sort of chat and poll section, and then you can see.
Sorry?
For the participants, I think they have to scroll to the vote section, and then you can see the questions there.
I can pull out. Yeah, I can see the question. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of responses coming in. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's interesting because let's show the results. We can see that 80% of the people on this call have heard of it, but they don't know much about it. And 20% have tried learning it. It's very good that most people here, are very, very, at least have heard about it. So that's great. So you're at the right place, actually. You're at the right place. So what is the big picture? Why SAP? Why now? Before I call on our next speaker, who is the expert, I just want to give a very quick, short overview about SAP. SAP today powers over 80% of global transaction revenue. It is behind the scenes of major global companies. With over 400,000 customers in over 180 countries, SAP is at the heart of modern business operations. But yet there is still a global talent shortage. All right. According to a 2024 report by IDC, the SAP ecosystem will face a 2.5 million talent gap by 2027. And in the EU alone, especially in countries like Germany, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, companies are actively seeking diverse professionals who understand the global business context. And so where do we come in as Africans in diaspora or as professionals in the diaspora? The diaspora is one of the most dynamic and under-leveraged talent pools in Europe. Many of us came to Europe with very rich academic backgrounds, professional experiences, cross-cultural agility, and the grit that comes from rebuilding careers in a new country. But without guidance, mentorship, or access to the right information, it's easy to feel lost or unqualified for high barrier fields like SAP. So on this webinar, we want to demystify this ecosystem and make this knowledge accessible to you, make these opportunities accessible to you, and you can learn how you can start building a career in this high sought field. So I would like to invite our first speaker, Adeoye Onyekom, to come and give us a broad overview of SAP and the various modules that it has. Adeoye is a certified SAP procurement consultant with lots of experience on international projects. He has a deep understanding of the SAP procurement landscape, and over the years he has successfully led and supported multiple end-to-end SAP Ariba implementation projects for clients across different industries. So Adeoye, if you're ready for us, we are ready for you. Okay, over to you now.
Hi everyone, I'm happy to be here. My name is Adeoye, and yeah, I would just quickly try to, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. So let me try to share. All right, just maybe you have done a little bit of introduction about myself, but just some personal stuff. So my name is Adeoye. I'm currently living in Hamburg, Germany. I'm originally from Nigeria. I'm an SAP procurement consultant focusing in both Ariba and also the SAP sourcing and procurement in ECC or S4HANA. And I'm happy to be here because I count it as a great privilege to give back to the SAP community, to people that are enthusiasts, in joining the SAP ecosystem. So this morning we are just going to have a look at the path, what you can do in order to build a career in SAP. So I will just do a quick introduction about SAP, the module, also career options that are available in SAP, and then afterwards I will hand over to Tobias, and then after Tobias' presentation we'll have a look at the SAP procurement module for those of you that are probably interested in the career choice, the career path of SAP that I've chosen. And then I will talk to you also about how to get started here, because it can be very, very daunting. You have to scout for information, how to even start the career in the first place. How to navigate the SAP job market. And then we'll have, I think we'll have some time to entertain some questions and answers that you might have. All right, let's get right into it. So 80% from the poll, from the result of the poll, says that you have heard about SAP before, and then, yeah, you just want to know more about it. Yeah, and that's where, that's the reason why we are all gathered here this morning, to share information, to share insights on how you can get right into the world of SAP. So SAP stands for Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. So SAP is pronounced as the alphabet and not as words. So sometimes I found it funny when people are saying SAP. Yeah, I'm working with SAP. Are you into SAP? So it's never called SAP. It's called SAP. All right. So you learned something new this morning. So SAP was founded over 50 years ago, yeah, 1972, and the headquarters is in Waldorf in Germany, but it's a enterprise software system which is being used all over the world, although the headquarters is located here in Germany. So SAP is the leading provider of ERP. We'll come to what ERP is all about in the next point, but it's a leading provider in the market. They are one of the foremost ERP software producers. And then what ERP is all about, it's being used by multinationals all over the world to manage business operations and also customer relations. So what does ERP stand for? It stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So it means how businesses, yeah, manages their operations within a single integrated system. So we can imagine in businesses we have different departments like procurement, like production, like maintenance, we have the finance and controlling, we have the human resources, among others departments. Then how do all these departments work together, yeah, in a single integrated system? And that is what the idea that SAP came about with building the first ERP software solution. And since 1972, they have been the leader in the market over the years, and they've been doing well. And they've tried to add so many things into it, like cloud solutions, AI, and all that, just to make them to remain competitive in the market. All right, for those of you that are here, I'm sure you joined the webinar to see what are the career paths that are available for me in SAP. So there is a career path for software development, for consulting, for business analysts, whatever you want to become in SAP is actually possible. And then in a matter of a couple of slides to come, we'll see those career paths that we can actually follow and we can guide it through. So I guess that Nkechi may probably want to share this slide later on for you guys so that we don't load it too much, yeah, with so much information, but we also provided some links for you to deep dive into what SAP is all about. All right, let's have a look at the overview of SAP ERP modules. Like I already mentioned in the previous slide, there are a couple of modules that are available in the SAP Enterprise Resource Planning modules, but we'll just talk about maybe 4 of them. And then I provide a link for you if you want to dig deep into other modules, if you want to learn more about them. But in this session, we'll only be looking at the procurement, and then Tobias will come in later to talk about people that are interested in the human resources area of SAP. All right, so we have the production module, we have the sales and distribution, we have the inventory management, we have the human resources management, we have the customer relationship management, we have the finance and the controlling module, we have the purchasing module that has to do with purchase of material and services for companies, and then we also have the service module also when it comes to maintenance, how companies or industries make their plants to run, especially manufacturing industries, so to speak, then also production. All right, so I will just focus on only 4 of them. So like I mentioned, the purchasing part, which is the procurement, It's also called material management module in SAP. So it's used to streamline the procurement of materials, both the direct and indirect materials, to be able to track supplier performance in the system. Is the supplier delivering on time and all those kind of stuff. And then you can also be able to analyze the purchasing data. How much do we spend in a month on a particular commodity code, for example? These are information that are available by using the SAP material management. All right, Tobias, we come later on to dive a little bit deeper, into the human resources part, human capital management, or human resources as you might want to call it. So this module helps businesses to be able to automate onboarding of employees training, development training, how you onboard or offboard employees, anything that has to do with human resources in the company, payroll management and all those kind of stuff. So this module is actually dedicated in SAP to take care of those. Then we have the finance and the controlling. So the finance and the controlling module is usually called FICO. So it helps businesses to be able to manage their financial processes, to control costs, and also analyze financial data. And it also comes with different data sets which you can drill down in order to see how company is doing when it comes to finances. And then the last one I will talk about is the sales and distribution. So for every company that produces, they want to get their goods out to people. So this module of SAP is focused on handling the entire sales cycle of a product, from creating sales order from the consumers and to delivering those products to the consumer, and also, of course, issuing invoices. So this module takes care of the end-to-end cycle of sales and distribution. And like I said, I'm just going to be focusing on the core 4 modules, but on the screen we have quite a number of them. And in this link, you can definitely jump into it and see the other modules that are available in SAP. All right, so let's look at the career options that we have in SAP. So in the SAP ecosystem, you could actually work directly with SAP. You'll be an employee of SAP, maybe in the product department or in whatever department you want to be, and then you are the front of making all these products ready, development and all those stuffs. So that is one career path that is possible for those who are interested in working with SAP directly. Another career path is that you want to be a consultant. So consultants are called SAP implementation partner. So the SAP releases the software, they produces the software, but of course there has to be some set of people or companies who then hold customers. Customers of SAP are multinationals. Then this set of people, consulting firms, we then go to these customers, hold some workshops with them, design workshops and all that, and set up the SAP system for those companies who we finally been using SAP for their business processes. So these are consulting firms. And I think over in the past 10 years now, even the big 4, they are now into IT technology consulting. So when you talk about the Deloitte, Ernst & Young, KPMG, they are now Accenture, for example. They are also now not only doing the finance and auditing that we used to know about them in the past times, but now they are not doing a lot more of IT technology consulting. And then we have a couple of other companies that are also doing well in the SAP space. For example, my company also, yesterday we got an award as the best implementation partner in Europe, for example. And then I think this is the 8th award that we have got consecutively. So you could be an SAP consultant if you want, if we are interested in implementing projects for multinationals. You will probably be traveling a lot to your clients and all that, but if you like to be challenged by going into different projects, I think this is a path that you can follow when it comes to SAP. And for you, you might say, I don't want to be a consultant. working for an external consultancy firm. You can also work directly with all these business enterprises, organizations that are using SAP. So for example, take Procter & Gamble, take Volkswagen, for example, take even Amazon, they also use SAP. So take Lufthansa as a company, for example. So you can work there either as end user. So what do I mean by end user? So you have your own career path, you are a procurement professional, yeah, and then you are using SAP in the course of your day-to-day activities at work. So you are interfacing or interacting with SAP tool, and then yeah, that's another way you could also channel your career path around SAP. And if you say, oh, I don't want to work as an external consultant, yeah, but I want to be an in-house consultant. So in Procter & Gamble, they want somebody, an in-house consultant who is overseeing their SAP system in case there is a problem or updates that is needed, because SAP is updating their systems from time to time, and then companies need somebody stationed internally who will be responsible for all those updates, for all those training new colleagues, for example, how to use the system. So you could also be an in-house consultant, and for that you won't even be doing a lot of travels because you are just stationed with a particular company. All right, so those are the three parts, and then maybe quickly I can just mention the last one. Of course, I think that's what Tobias is doing right now. And maybe for you, if you want to have a business of your own, you can also set up a company that focuses in the area of SAP. So you can also be a freelancer, for example, or have your own consulting firm. So why not? You can also go through that path. So as I've showed us, SAP ecosystem is very vast. There are a lot of opportunities. I've showed us about the consulting, development, project management is possible, and there are lots more. Now, how do you get in? So you have to determine first which area of SAP, pick your interest, which area of SAP. You need to know what modules are available. I already showed us some couple of modules, and maybe some of them already piqued your attention. And then you need to also align your background and skills and your career goals in this area, and then you'll be able to pick which area you want to go into. So first of all, the module, then the path you want to go. You want to be working directly with SAP, or you want to work with implementation partners or consulting firms, or you want to just be in an organization where you are using SAP for day-to-day business activities, or you want to be an in-house SAP consultant. So all these are actually possible. And I always tell people that, what informed your decision on a particular SAP module could be as a result of interest. Yeah, the motivation has to be there, the interest has to be there. Even if what you studied in the university or previous experience is not aligning or probably a little bit different, but once the interest is there, it fuels your passion, it fuels your motivation, and then you're going to do excellently well, even when you start. All right, then I will hand over to Tobias, who will then take us through the human resources of SAP module. Over to you, Tobias.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the introduction and for the overview of SAP. I think that was very good and helpful. And as he said, now we're going to deep dive a little bit into specifically the HR area. For that, let me share a screen with you. Specific window, lots of different opportunities here, and I think now you can at this moment see the presentation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. All right. Briefly also a little bit of background from my side. I will move this away. Tobias, my name. I'm originally from Germany, funny enough, though not living there anymore, in contrast to Adeoye. So I'm living now in Lisbon, Portugal. That's also where I'm calling from. And was spending a little bit of time during the studies in France, where I also had the privilege to get to know Nkechi. What I'm doing right now is, as you already pointed out, is I have my own consultancy, HR Digital Consulting. I basically went for that career path that you mentioned of being an SAP consultant in the HR space. I worked in 2 different consultancies for about 10 years, a bit less than 10 years, and then about 3 years ago, opened my own consultancy here out of Portugal. We're always focused on the HR market within SAP, and we are always also focused mostly on Germany, Austria, Switzerland. And as said in the beginning, there really is a shortage of resources. There's too many end customers using SAP in HR, too many customers wanting to newly implement or innovate their SAP HR in Germany, so that even in a market that traditionally was always very maybe hard to enter in the sense of German language skills, there's more and more projects now completely running in English. And that's also where we're coming in, that we're providing consultants from various nationalities out of Portugal, etc. But anywhere really, because for us it only matters the skill set within SAP HR to these projects in Germany. And as a lot of times these are multinational projects across multiple locations, there's also, of course, sometimes on-site presence needed to travel for a specific workshop. But to be honest, 80 to 90% of the work in these projects is really done remotely. And that's why I think there's a big opportunity in webinars like this today to get more people interested in the area of SAP. What I'm going to talk about after the short introduction is I'm very briefly going to talk about SAP SuccessFactors. SAP SuccessFactors is basically the HR solution of the HR cloud solution of SAP. So a deep dive really in this area. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how these projects typically are running, what is the methodology that is used, what is the process that is used, also for you to understand if a new HR SAP solution is implemented, how does that work. I'm also going to deep dive a little bit more on the project roles, also making this comparison of the consultancy perspective as well as the end customer perspective, depending on what you consider is more interesting, and then briefly finish with how to become certified, particularly in the SAP HR area, before handing it back over to get you a bit of an introduction about procurement. Now, as a next step, we will have to try something out, and you have to bear with me. We're going to try to start with a little video. I think I only show the presentation, right? Right now you still see the presentation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And let me see if I can share with audio. I saw some beautiful thing that this would be possible, but so far that option does not show for me to show with audio. So I think we might have to skip the video, unfortunately. Yeah, when I don't know, NK for you also, NK for you is also not showing when sharing the share with audio option that they speak about online, or does it?
No, it doesn't.
That is unfortunate. Anyways, I will send you guys this link. I have an alternative.
I'll share it with everyone.
Exactly. So we'll share this also here in the Q&A. It's basically a 3-minute introduction into the SuccessFactors area, which I think is quite nice because it also gives you a little bit of an overview into how the look and feel of the solution and not just the theory that we're speaking about. So let me go back to share the presentation with you. Here we go. Now you're about to see the screen back. So we're going to go do that in theory. So what are the relevant modules basically within HR, right? So SuccessFactors is the HR solution, and even within this you can deep dive further, right? We started with a sort of holistic level of SAP. What are the business areas that they're covering? And they're covering all areas within a business, but even in HR there's still modules, and typically consultants are even then specialized on specific modules. So they're not just specialized on I am an HR specialist, so HR SAP specialist, but they're on a sub area or sub module specialized. For that, to get a bit through that, you can basically differentiate it on 2 main layers. This talent management on the top that you see, and then the core HR and payroll section. Core HR and payroll is sort of the foundation that we use in HR, which is all the people data, the master data, right? Data about our employees. So from the moment we hire somebody, we we add their master data. We need to know about the bank details of an employee. We need to know about their salary. We need to know about the working hours, maybe the shift that they're working. This is all in core HR and payroll. This also defines in the system who's reporting to who, so the topic of org management, so that we know if there's, for example, an approval that should go to the manager or to a second level manager, that we know that. Core HR fundamentally in the end also deals a lot with the time and payroll. So in many companies you will know you might have to record the working hours you do, or you enter the office and you have a little card that you hold against the terminal. You do the clock in, clock out for your working time. These terminals are often then connected to SAP, so that the employer knows, okay, from when to when did you work, when were the breaks, and there's obviously specific rules behind to pay overtime, etc. Also, there's behind topics like absence management, right? You're going to request your holiday depending on the country you work in. There's going to be different rules on how much vacation days you have, etc. So all of this plays a role, and in the end goes into the area of payroll. So your monthly payout, including potential expenses, including potential overtime, etc. that you paid. So this is all sort of the focus of core HR and payroll. That is the foundation for everything. On top of that, we have the so-called talent management suite in HR of SAP and SuccessFactors, which basically covers the entire employee life cycle, how we call it, right? So from the moment somebody applies to a company in recruiting until the moment somebody terminates, or through the years that somebody is within the company. So a lot of times when you go to big companies like Adidas, Hugo Boss, etc., the career website, when you're actually going to apply for a job, this is based on SAP and SuccessFactors, right? So the recruiting platform is based on SuccessFactors. When you apply, the details are going to come into the recruiting module of SuccessFactors, where the recruiters of the company, the end users then in this case, like we heard before, are dealing with this and screening your applications. When you are successfully going through a recruiting stage, you might be onboarded. Also in the onboarding, the solution helps so that the right documents can be gathered, the right forms can be gathered, etc. And then once you're an employee, there's a lot of HR processes along the way that are basically also supported by HR. Typical thing, learning, online courses, webinars, trainings, and that those are also recorded for you as an employee so that you can show them and take them also as an argument for your next promotion or next salary increase. The whole topic of performance evaluation, performance management, how you've been doing, the connection of this to the typical merit increase, the compensation, salary increases that are annually happening in companies. Also, this is supported by HR. Some companies use Excel, but why use that? There's actually a fully integrated way to use that. So managers get an allocated budget based on how the company is financially doing, and can then, depending on the performance of the employees, allocate this budget to give salary increases. And finally, also something, among many other things, the whole succession planning. So often used for the top management, that we already evaluate and check, okay, what if a specific critical position gets vacant? What if a specific critical individual leaves the company? Who are the people that have similar skills and talents that we can fill this role without having any disruptions within the business? So as you can hear, even in the HR space, which is just a little small piece of the HR world, there's loads of different areas. And then you see down there underlining the people analytics. That's obviously one of the big advantages of having a fully integrated system, as we heard before. So with SAP, you are going to have all your HR processes in the system, so you can also have the necessary statistics, reports, analytics, either for sort of needed legislative reports, which are needed in many countries, or also for strategy for the management, basically to understand how the workforce is set up, where the costs are coming from, what skills they have, where they maybe have to develop in terms of skills. So this is the kind of strategic direction. And then, as we said, this HR module obviously connects to the other areas of SAP. For example, there's always a big connection between SAP, HR, and finance, because of course it's a massive cost, the workforce. So these information about the workforce cost, the salary payments, but as well the cost center information is then, for example, one connection where it's just very valuable to companies to have an integrated system. Maybe one more word on this introduction also. We talked already about this skills shortage, and that there's more consultants needed. There's more knowledge around SAP needed within within end clients. And in a way, in HR particularly, this is a demand that is sort of automatically driven. Why is that? Because there's two reasons for that. One is SAP is pushing clients towards the cloud. There used to be more traditional solutions, and now they're pushing them to the cloud. So that generates business. The other thing is HR is traditionally extremely local, and the legislation is very local. So I saw in the Q&A, we have people from Nigeria, we have people from France, from Portugal, from Germany logged in. The rules on how you do payroll, the rules on how absence is managed, etc. All of these are different by country. How much vacation do you have? How is your overtime paid? And they're not just only different between country, but they're also often changing year to year, depending on what legislation, what governments are deciding. So in a way, that's one of the interesting areas. The way the world we live in kind of generates business and work in this area, because companies need help adapting their systems to these new requirements and needs. Briefly talking about the methodology, so you understand how would be a typical project. There's something called the SAP Activate methodology. That's a standard methodology by SAP. Many companies and consultancies use it. Many consultancies maybe have their own little tweak on it, but in the end, I believe most of the time it comes back to it. And you basically have the phases you can see here: discover, prepare, explore, realize, deploy, and run, through which you are typically implementing SAP solutions. And it is quite self-explanatory, but I think it is good to understand there's a structured approach on how these projects work. So we obviously start with discovering the requirements, the needs, and also onboarding the team of the customer, understanding their situation. We then have the prepare phase, where basically the customer business needs need to be understood and matched to what can the software actually offer, right? Which will be continued in the explore phase, where we are really already going into so-called fit to standard workshops, because often SAP comes with standard solutions as, okay, this is the way we believe a recruiting process should be looking like. And this will then in this phase be compared to the customer scenario and discussed, okay, are you going to adhere to the standard? Do you need, for whatever reason, your own process, so that in the end we have a clear target how the system should be looking. When we have this clear target, how should your recruiting process look like? Then we go into the realize phase. Realize meaning really the actual technical implementation and setup in the first stage. And the second one, besides the configuration and configuring the solution to meet the customer needs, also the testing of the solution, right? We're never going to just give a solution and the customer has to live with it, but there's typically various test rounds so that they can validate the system. Does this work? Can we work with this? And you continuously improve that. Only after all of these test rounds are done, the system is then finally put into so-called production. So the system goes live, and the existing data of the workforce is being migrated so the new customer can use this system. And depending on the size of the project, so which modules is recruiting, is it onboarding, is it multiple at the same time, depending on the geographies, how many countries at the same time. Depending on that, the timeline of these kind of projects varies significantly. To also drill down a bit more in the testing, I said, so we're getting the requirements, we're setting it up, we're testing before we go live. In testing, typically today, in most solutions in SAP, you're speaking about so-called iterative testing. So that means basically there's an iterative circle with multiple iterations, sometimes 3, sometimes less, sometimes more, where basically prototypes are being given to the customer to test, give feedback, and continuously improve. This is kind of a step further than it used to be. In the past, you used to do a very traditional waterfall approach where all the requirements were documented and gathered, and then you would implement this entire solution. Nowadays, this is a bit more agile. We build small pieces of the solution, the customer tests, gives feedback, etc. And like this, we're slowly developing ourselves to the ideally 100% kind of setup of the system for the customer. Yeah. All of that, obviously, just for you to get a bit of a better idea on how do those projects actually work. It can sometimes be overwhelming to do and think about these massive technical implementations, but it's all very structured into small steps. And if you decide for a path, either on the end customer side, your partner, the consultancy, the implementation partner will guide you through it, or the other way around. If you are deciding to be a consultant, the more seniors will basically guide you through the steps for an implementation. Then maybe just a little bit of information still about deep diving on the roles, right? We heard before we have the possibility to work on SAP directly. One option, we can work with the end customer. Another option, we can be as consultants. Now let's deep dive a little bit more. What does it actually mean? What are the specific roles we typically have in projects? And for that, I'm going to have 2 slides, one for the consultancy side and one for the end customer side. So there's various, and which is also important about this is, for me, is maybe some of these things sound very technical, but we need technical roles, but we also need less technical and very business-driven roles that rather understand the business. So depending on what your background is, if you're interested in working with SAP, be it in HR, be it in procurement that we speak about in a minute, you don't have to be super technical. You don't have to know how to code at all. It's not the way it works. There's various roles that are possible. So for example, on the consultancy side, there is the solution architect. That is somebody that sort of keeps the big picture in mind, understands how one module, one topic connects to the other. So we saw, for example, those topics like recruiting, onboarding, performance. These are processes that have connections, interconnections. The solution architect is there to remember those connections and make sure that in the end, we don't build silos, but we build a system that is integrated. Then you have the more traditional project and program managers, right? So if you have a background in project management, these are all massive projects with big budgets to manage, tough timelines, etc. So everything we need from other non-IT projects, we also need here. So we need to have project and program managers. Then sometimes, depending on the size of the project, we have architects for specific more niche areas. Those are these module architects. And then we have leads for specific areas, either functional or technical. So functional leads are really the people that understand the processes, right? So we cannot expect that somebody that is extremely good in technical implementation, I mean, it's great. These are the best consultants if we have them, but sometimes we have maybe people that are stronger on the technical side, how to implement a recruiting process, but maybe they haven't had the chance, the opportunity in their career to work within recruiting and understand that process. So that's why we're differentiating a lot of times between functional leads, somebody that understands the process in and out, can understand the requirements, and then translate it to the technical consultants. And finally, as in many businesses and consultancies, you have also more the sales side of things, right? The whole sales to even get the project started, also, or the account executives that are continuously supporting the customer are the escalation point to make sure that a project like this is running smooth. Customer side, some more topics. I'm going to skip the ones that are self-explanatory or kind of duplicates from the consultancy. Executive sponsor being one of them, project manager, we talked about it. Of course, you have it on the consultancy side as well as on the customer side. One topic that is very big on customer side mostly, sometimes offered by consultancies, is the topic of change managers, change management, because implementing a new software, often for multiple locations across the world, obviously there's a lot of impact on processes, things change, people have to get used to new ways. So supporting a technical implementation with change management is fundamental, that there's also acceptance in the end. And then on the client side, what we see on the right side there, we need to have the business process owner and the subject matter experts. So again, these are people that know the processes, but maybe not generically, like the functional experts on the consultancy side, but those people know how are the specific processes working in this company, because every company has specificities because of the industry, some regulations in the industry, maybe because of the history of things that have been agreed with the workforce. So this is something important. And then we also need, obviously, system administrators, people that after the system is live are going to take it on, are going to keep working with it. We heard before the topic of key users, people that are really there, that understand the system deeper than others in the company, that are sort of champions and go-to people for the regular employees later to understand how to use the new solution. And then we have a whole area of test management, so test manager and coordinators, because I said before, there's a big part of this is testing, getting the requirements and then testing. And of course, this has to be done in a structured approach. And again, this is something where, very organized profiles, characteristics, project manager experiences can really play a good role. Experiences with test tools that exist like Jira can be very helpful. All of this to say there is a whole world out there of different roles and profiles in the SAP area, and you can really sort of find out what is the area that is interesting, be it on the business side, procurement versus HR versus finance, etc. But even then, if you decided on one area, there's loads of different roles and profiles that you can decide what best fits basically your character, your profile, and your interests. To finish, and before I hand over again to procurement, a very quick 4-step approach on how you can get certified. There's certifications per module in the HR area in SuccessFactors. When we share the slides, you'll have a link also to really a step-by-step guide by SAP. But in the end, there's certifications for all the different modules and areas. There's then trainings that are basically made exactly so that you get the content and learn the content for this specific certification. You need to learn, prepare yourself, and then, well, you gotta pass the exam, which is an online exam where a certain threshold of multiple choice questions basically needs to be answered correctly. Once you are certified, you're not certified for life, because as we heard before, there's continuous innovation, continuous updates, so that you continue to know what is the latest in your field in HR or whatever SAP area you use, and you don't just consult clients or know about your solution how it used to be 5 years back. You need to do once or twice a year a short, but it's a 10-15 minute stay certified exam that basically makes sure, SAP makes sure like this, that you stay up to date with what is coming new. It's a very interesting area in that sense as well, because SAP obviously goes along with the newest innovations. So for example, 5 years ago, we wouldn't be talking a lot about AI in HR, but nowadays there's a lot of AI. So it's something really nice, because you kind of stay up to date with the newest trends in technology that are shaping also the discussions. Yeah, that much about HR from my side. I hope I sparked a little bit of interest, and I'm more than happy for you to connect with me also through LinkedIn to discuss further or ask any questions later. But first of all, I'm going to hand back to talk a bit more about procurement.
Yeah. Thanks, Toby. Before Adeoye comes on, we will take the questions. So please drop your questions in the Q&A chat box. We'll definitely have enough time for questions. Luisa, I see your hand. So we'll just go through those sessions and then we'll have questions at the end. Okay. Thank you, Toby. And Adeoye, over to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nkechi. Thank you, Tobias. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. Okay, so let me just try to present again. Oh, I don't want to start from beginning. All right, so you've heard about the SAP success factors from Tobias, and then now let's go right into the SAP procurement module or solutions. All right, so many of us may have heard about the SAP MM module. So it's called materials management. So in the former SAP landscape, it's in ECC. I don't want to go into so many topics before now, because some of us are probably new to the landscape of server SAP is using. So what they're using before is the ECC, but they want to move in S4HANA. So it's called material management, and the materials management is one of the foremost core module, within the SAP ERP system, because like I already mentioned to us, this is a software that's being used by companies that produces multinationals, and then there's no way you will produce without getting the materials, right, that you need to produce with. So this module has to do with the purchase of materials, how to make requisitions, how to turn those requisitions into purchase orders, and then when the supplier delivers the goods, somebody in the company has to book the good receipts and also process the invoices as soon as the supplier sends invoices. So this area of SAP, I think it's an area that anybody, irrespective of your background, your educational background, your experience, can get into, because I mean, this is just all about buying and selling. So if you have ever bought anything before, either online or you walk to a grocery or you exchange value for a particular good, this is what it's all about. And I just try to make it as basic as possible. But of course, when you get into the module, into the role, there will be a lot of terminologies like what is purchase orders, what are good returns, good receipts. But these are things that we do in an everyday life. So yeah, I already put a link here if you want to deep dive, yeah, into this area of SAP, yeah, the materials management, and then, yeah, with the newest solution, yeah, Tobias already mentioned about it, because SAP is pushing most of their solutions into cloud. So this module, earlier called material management, the new word for it now, it's sourcing and procurement. The reason is that after the webinar, you may want to Google, yeah, of course, you will find a lot of documents on material management, but SAP is now changing the name to sourcing and procurement, because that is the naming convention being used in SAP S/4HANA. All right, so another module that you can also maybe build a career in, and that's where I'm actually focusing, yeah, in terms of my career. I'm SAP Ariba consultant, but of course, I also learn a lot about SAP MM and also the sourcing and procurement I already talked about. So what is SAP Ariba? SAP Ariba was founded 1992, yeah, back then in US, but along the line, it used to be called Ariba only, yeah. Then SAP had to buy the company. So it's a cloud-based procurement solution. So unlike MM, which was mostly on-premise system for companies, Ariba now it's a cloud-based procurement solution which is used by companies to manage the entire procurement cycle, from when you're sourcing for your supplier, you are onboarding your suppliers, you are making purchases, buying items and services, and down to invoicing. So the same processes that I've just explained in MM is also the same thing that they are doing in Ariba. It's just that it's taking place on different platforms owned by SAP, but they are focusing on sourcing and procurement. So if you want to deep dive into the topic of SAP Ariba, I already put the link for us here. You will see which areas you can go into. We have the SAP Ariba sourcing, Ariba procurement, Ariba supplier management, invoicing. There are different areas where you can build a career on. But I would advise you, if you want to start, just take it one step after the other. And as you grow further in the career, then you can bring in other modules in. All right, let's look at the third one. So in order of history, so the first one, like I mentioned, is the SAP Materials Management. Yeah, it's one of the foremost core modules in SAP ERP system, then followed by SAP Ariba, which gathers so much relevance when all these cloud solutions, topics, and everything started coming up. Yeah, and then the latest one is the SAP Fieldglass. So the Fieldglass is a cloud-based vendor management system. So when you imagine a company with over 50,000 employees spread all over the world. So this kind of solution helps them to manage people, contractors, service providers. Yeah, so in SAP Fieldglass, you are more focusing on service procurement, but it's still an area of procurement, right? So in procurement, you can either buy services or you buy materials, either direct or indirect materials. So the MM is focusing on both services and materials. It could be direct or indirect. In Ariba, it's also for services and also material, but of course the SAP Fieldglass is only when an external workforce or contractor or service providers are providing their services to a company, and then you need to manage the services they provide, the end-to-end and all that. That is what the solution is being used for. I already provided a link for us here if you want to deep dive into the topic of Fieldglass. All right, so how do you get started? You guys have talked a lot about the human resources, human capital management, success factors, procurement. How do I get started? So I would say the first thing is to acquire the necessary skills and knowledge in your chosen SAP module. So it could be Tobias success factors, for example, or the module that I just presented, the MM, Ariba, or Fieldglass. So you need to gain the necessary skills and knowledge that you need in this field. And then if you have background in business or accounting or finance, for example, then all of the concepts, the new concepts you'll be learning will be very, very easy for you to catch up, for example. And just like also to be, as I said, we have functional roles, yeah. For those roles, if you want to be a functional consultant, for example, you'll be interfacing a lot with the customers. You need to understand their business processes. You need to understand the procurement cycle end to end. So the domain knowledge is very, very key if you want to go into this kind of area. And then for technical roles, if you like to code, for example, yeah, it requires a lot of proficiency in programming, database management, and all other aspects, including AI, which is the most recent topics that almost every company are going into now. So continuous learning, as you probably may have expected, it's very, very key when you're going into SAP, because they want to be competitive in the market, and then they are also adding one thing or the other to the system. There are a lot of new releases, updates, and all that. And as a consultant or as an SAP user, you want to be sure that you are also updated, right, with what is happening with SAP. So continuous learning is very key. And also, Tobias already talked about the certification. Certification in SAP is not what you get one time, and it's valid for life. So every year they want you to come back and then upskill yourself in the latest added features to the solution, and then there's just a test that you have to go through, write some assessment, and then you revalidate your certification. So that is what SAP is doing. And also, I have put some links here where you can already get into learning. There are free courses on SAP learning platform. There's also online or remote training. We have some training institutes in SAP that can train you, yeah, in your chosen module. We have some YouTube videos. There are training institutes that have recorded a lot of videos on YouTube that are free, that you can watch on a particular topic or module in order to get yourself the required knowledge that you need. And also for those that are students, yeah, in this session, so this last two information is very, very important for you. So if you're doing your master's, or you're a PhD student, or you're doing your bachelor, wherever you are all over the world, so SAP has they just released the student edition of SAP Learning Hub. It's free. It's totally free. You just need to register with your school email address. They need to confirm that you are a student. And on this platform, you have access to a lot of educational resources, yeah, in any area of SAP, any module which we have talked about, where you can learn. I mean, to go to any training institute, certified training institutes of SAP, or directly from SAP, it costs a lot of money, sometimes running into thousands of euros or dollars, yeah, in order to get yourself trained. But of course, if you're still a student, I think it's the best time to be a student. So you have opportunity to have access to different resources, learning resources from SAP, and also you can even write 2 free certifications that are possible for you. But you have to be a student, and then there has to be a university email address for them to confirm that. You can read more about that using the link that I've put in the presentation. All right, and then the next one is ERP for students, also for students. So it's university here in Germany. It's called University of Brandenburg, but students all over Europe can participate in this program. So you just pay a little money. Yeah, it's not free like the one directly SAP is doing. So for ERP for students, I think you have to pay around 300 to 500 euros, depending on which module or which program you want to get trained in. It's not a live training session. You only get some reading educational materials from SAP, and then you also get access to the server, because that is very, very key. Access to SAP server is not something you come by, yeah? It's not something you easily come by, but by registering for this kind of program, you get access to SAP server, you can do some live demos, you can build projects in the system, you also get trained, and these are the possibilities that you can have as a student. All right, so after getting the relevant skills, I won't dwell too much on this because Tobias already said a lot about it. So you need to get certified, which will validate, not only validate your expertise, but also enhance your value in the SAP job market. Either you want to search for a new job or you're already working, but you want to get yourself promoted across your career path in your organization. Yeah, the more certifications you have and you are able to back up your certifications with you demonstrate it with what you can do, then it's easy for you to move up your career ladder when you get certified. Yeah, so I will always say choose certifications that align with your career aspirations and your chosen SAP module. So if you want to get certified in SAP MM, Ariba, or Fitclass, yeah, there are lots of certifications in this area. You just need to, I put a link here for us, invest some time and effort into preparing for your certification. Look for the ones that fit into the area of module that you want to go into. But of course, you have to learn. You have to get the right skills that is needed. You have to make sure you know your module before you then go and get certified. I mean, there is always this debate about, oh, should I get an internship or experience first or certification? Which one should come first? But yeah, do what it's easy for you, what you feel it's right for you. But I would say certification is always also nice to have. Yeah. Then how do you navigate the job market? I really have to run here. We are out of time. You can use job sites like LinkedIn, Stepstone, Monster. I think for most part of Europe, these websites, especially Stepstone and Monster, can be very relevant, but you have to look into your different countries, what websites are available there for you to be able to search. But of course, on LinkedIn, which is more universal, you can also find from roles in SAP. You can use Glassdoor to get an idea of an average salary for the whatever position you want to apply for. Tobias already talked about different positions in SAP like solution architect, yeah, development, project managers and all that. So you need to have an idea of what they pay them before you are going into negotiation, during the interview or something like that. And also you need to search for people that are new to SAP. You need to search for entry level roles as an SAP consultant or a business analyst in order to kickstart your career. But of course, yeah, for some roles, you should expect some 20 to 80% traveling to the customer side. You can also explore some job roles, as Tobias has also mentioned, that you are not going to be consultant, but like end user, key user, yeah, and then you're stationed with a particular company. You're not jumping from one project to another. So you can be a procurement professional, procurement specialist, category manager, strategic buyer. Yes, you're professional within a company, but for your day-to-day business activities, you have to use SAP in order to process the procurement processes. You need to get familiar with the job description, requirements, and ensure they align with the module that you have chosen. Then, of course, you can gain hands-on experience through internships. A lot of companies are looking for people that are ready to learn, that are ready to start, especially when it comes to SAP consulting, just like what Tobias has said. So SAP, like I mentioned, is moving from the old platform, which is the ECC, and a lot of companies are moving now. So the new platform is S4HANA. It's more vibrant. It's more faster. Yeah, you can have live transactions in it and produces transaction in real time. So SAP has given up until 2027, yeah, that they can provide mainstream maintenance for companies. So a lot of companies are now trying to run and switch to the new platform, which is the S4HANA, which is based in the cloud. So there's a huge demand of S4HANA consultants in different modules, be it procurement, HR, and other modules that I've talked about. So the best time is now. Get right into different modules, gain all the right skills that you need. And then, yeah, I'm sure Nkechi will talk about what comes after, and then we are here to also provide some support for you, whatever module of choice that you want to go after. So maybe Nkechi, over to you, then we can have some time for questions and answers.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, thank you so much. Yeah, we've got a number of questions, but before we take the questions, because yeah, I think that's the most interesting part for everyone who is here. But thanks, Tobias, thanks Adeoye for the time, for the detailed presentation. So I think the next step is possibly the most important, right? We don't want to get information and don't know how to act on it. And there's a huge opportunity in the SAP ecosystem that we should all jump on. And of course, give ourselves, the time to learn the skills, to get our certification, and to get the jobs that are out there waiting for us. So we will be the next step for us will be the level higher SAP mentorship track. Okay, that will be a group session where those that are interested would sign up for our mentorship track, and they would have weekly or monthly mentorship sessions with a guide, an expert who will walk them through that, look at what's happening, where you at on your learning journey, and help you answer the questions and cross the T's and I and things that are still blurry to you. So there's a poll that I've just put up there that would also help us. So if, of course, like all of our presenters have said, there are a lot more modules beyond the things that we've talked about, but this, gives a general overview and helps you tailor your learning drive to something that is most suitable to your background, to your skills, to your experience, and what you want to pursue. Okay. So I'm getting all the questions. Yeah, thanks. Okay. So a lot of people, yeah, there's a huge interest on our mentorship track. So we will get in touch with everyone who has indicated interest, and you'll get all the information on how we roll it out and all the things that are involved in it. So we're running out of time. I was supposed to maybe draw more on this, but it's Saturday. We need to, get on with our weekend. So I want us to take the questions, So there was already one that came in that I assigned to Adeoye. I don't know if you've seen it. The question is, someone is a little confused on the certification aspect. The person has been looking for SAP certifications, but it seems they are different for different aspects of the supply chain system. Can you see that question, Adeoye?
I think I can see it. Yeah.
Yes. So do you want to respond to that?
Yeah. So the person is saying, for me, that want to be involved in the whole system, including procurement, what certifications should I go for? So yeah, as I've just explained, there are different modules or solution by which you can go into procurement, right? We have the SAP MM. So I don't know if that's one is the one you're talking about, or the Ariba or the feed glass. So, but what I would just say here from what I've seen the person write is that you want to be involved in the whole system. So what do you mean by the whole system? And then you said including procurement. If what you mean by the whole system is all the modules, I would say you should take it one step at a time. You can only learn one module. It's really, really huge. I have to tell you, it's really huge. You can learn FICO, finance and controlling, and you want to learn to be a success factors, and then you want to learn procurement, and then you want to learn production planning. You have to choose only one that fits to your career goal. And like I said, as you proceed further, in your career, your SAP journey, you can now then be adding some other modules that are related. So for example, I can pick procurement now, and I want to jump into Tobias human resources. It's really, there's a wide difference, right? I can only pick things that are related. So maybe you can be clear about which area of SAP. If it's just pure procurement, is it in SAP MM, or is it in Ariba, or is it in Fieldglass? Then of course the link that I've put in the slide directs you to the list of the valid SAP certifications, and there's a search field. Yeah, in the search field you can search for what module. You see the ones on Ariba, you see the ones on Fieldglass, you will see the one on it's called SAP S/4HANA Sourcing and Procurement. There are no certifications for SAP MM anymore because MM is based on the former platform which I call the ECC. So SAP has phased out certifications on MM, but you will find certification on Sourcing and Procurement SAP S/4HANA.
Okay. So there's a lot of questions. There are more in the procurement department. So there's, I think, but before you take on that, I would say, what would be the typical learning journey for somebody? Maybe Toby, you can answer to that. Maybe my background is in healthcare, nothing related to whatever we've done, but I would want to make a transition, a career transition into SAP, and maybe my interest is in, success factors. How would I even start that? What would be my first step?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what was said, I think it's definitely good to check the Learning Hub for the available trainings and the available certifications, just to understand what is the area I'm most interested in success. Is it recruiting? Is it onboarding? Is it, performance management? And then follow those training parts. I think that's one step. The other one, you were talking about the mentoring program, is some of these topics are very big, right? Procurement is a very big topic. So I think in the mentoring track, or if you have the mentor with you, is also maybe at some point to take a look into the system and actually understand the processes, actually understand what with this software are you doing on a day-to-day basis. And maybe that also helps you narrow down, okay, I want to deal with this aspect, but I don't want to deal with this aspect. Just, I think it's really about this through research, but also maybe through mentoring, to understand what is the part of the solution I want to deal with. And then when it's about getting the career transition, I think we talked about there's two paths. One is I train, I get a certification, and I kind of make myself visible for the job market. Option one. Option two, maybe in parallel, is I am looking for an opportunity already first within a consultancy. I am looking for an opportunity with the end customer, because there's such a shortage in the market. Certifications are key, 100%, but there is a lot of consultancies that will take on people that are willing to learn and that will guide them and help them on the job to get the certifications as well. So that's also an option, right? Because there's obviously there's a certain risk and a timing to certifying yourself first before you even look for a job. So that's the other path. You can search for a job, you can search for a consultancy, and then within your job, certify yourself.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. There is somebody, Adelia, assigned a lot of questions to you because people want, I don't know if you can see them, but let me ask, someone is saying, is certification necessary after completing SAP MM consultant training in order to find a job in SAP?
Yeah, I mean, just like what Tobias has said, so if you have done the training already, there are lots of companies that are ready to take you, without your certification. But I can share you, I mean, that's why we are here, to give insights, right? So for me, so maybe I might be a perfect example because I was doing quite different things before I moved into SAP. So I was actually into research and data analysis and all that. So yeah, at the point, then I got tired about it, because if you want to proceed in that kind of career, you need to have a PhD or something like that. Then I was like, okay, my background is in economics, finance, business, and all that. Why not move into the area of SAP? So when I was going in, as I was doing my previous job, I was also then coming back home at night. I was learning, I got all the resources that I need, and I was focusing more on the MM. Then I went for the certification. After getting the certification, I would say the certification is part of, what got me the opportunity to work with my company that I'm with today. So it's one of the things, right? Because they saw it on my CV, and then we talked a lot about the certification. They tried to ask me some questions, test me in that area, and be sure that I'm just not trying to play around with the certification, but I actually know what I'm doing. So we went all through the procurement processes, the procurement cycle, the end-to-end and all that. And then they were really impressed, right? And then they were able to take me on board. But there are some of my colleagues, that also join at the same time that they have certification. So just like what Tobias said, don't wait until you get satisfied. There are some companies, consulting firms that cannot wait for people who want to do their certification or something like that, but people who are willing to learn. So for some of you, it's a new field, but once a company sees that you have the heart to learn, you're willing, you are eager to learn, they are ready to take you on board. They will even pay for your certification. You will have access to unlimited SAP resources. And then, I mean, with the certification that I got before joining my company, as soon as I joined also, I got more certifications. I was able to write more exams and all that. So it's nothing to worry about. The most important thing is that you have interest to get the knowledge and the basic knowledge that you need. And then once you are able to get with the first company, they're ready to equip you with the necessary skills.
Good. So I think we will have to run. So all of the people that have indicated interest in the mentorship track will be in touch via email. We will send across as well all the slides that were used on the webinar, as well as the recording for future references. So nothing to fear. We will share all the information, all the resources that we have with everyone who is here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. Please connect with our speakers, Tobias and Adoye. Their LinkedIn URL are on the chat box, so feel free to connect with them and ask further questions. And please, if you haven't already, if you go to our website, Level Higher, you can create your profile as a mentor, as a mentee, okay, so that once we launch this mentorship track, you would be on the first ones to get on. So go on the website, Level Higher, let me share that so that and create your profile as soon as you can. So that it will be on a first come, first serve basis. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask, make a request. Is it possible for everyone to turn on their cameras or not? Is it possible? Or do I have to activate it for everyone? Can you guys type on the chat box and let me know if it's actually possible for you to turn on your cameras or not? Yes, no? No, it's not. Okay. Okay, hold on. Can you, oh yeah, sorry. Okay, so it's not possible. Okay, it should be possible now. I will, it's a manual process, but I want to do a quick screen grab of everyone who is on this call, if you all permit me. So are people turning on their cameras? Yes. Okay. Yes, I think I can hear people turning on their cameras.
Do you have a nice overview? You can see them all.
It should. I hope. Okay. So, okay, let me see. No. Yes, it's working. There are people that are able to turn on their cameras now. Yes. Yes, it's working. Just be patient. It's taking a while.
Are you manually having to do this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Great. Okay, should be okay. Good. 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 Okay. Everyone's on. Okay. So, okay. So I can see hello everyone. Good. So I see some babies also joined for the webinar as well. All right. So we saw a lot of questions and hello. So I'm just going to do I have everyone on the screen? Do I have your consent to do this?
Yes.
You do? Okay, I do.
Yes.
Excellent. Yes. Okay, thank you. Means a lot. Turn it on. Okay, screen grab. Done. Thank you all for your patience. And then now, give me your best smiles, okay? Okay, I got this one already. Your best smiles. Pretty. One more to go. I'm sorry. It's not in one grid, so I need to like get all the grids. It's not okay. I need more photos here. Okay, these ones are camera shy, so I'm gonna leave them.
Hello?
Some camera shy.
Hey, how
Okay. So thank you all so much. I did it. We did it. And any questions that were not answered, also feel free to shoot an email to me personally. Yeah. Feel free to shoot an email to me personally, and then I'll direct it to our speakers, and then they will reach back to everyone. Okay, we'll be in touch. Thank you for being with us. Again, thank you, Tobias. Thank you, Adoye. This has been great. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All the best, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.